Hello dear doctors, welcome to 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗺. This is our 8th lecture under the domain of neonatology. So, this is a pediatrics initiative by me. I am Dr. 𝗵𝗵𝗺. I don't highlight my name, but yeah, this is me, right? So, we are discussing the neonatology and we are on the 8th chapter. This is transient tachypnea of the newborn. So, I've told you, whenever there is a neonatal respiratory distress, there are three things which you have to keep in mind. If it is occurring in preterm baby, that means less than 40 weeker baby, then it is going to be a transient tachypnea of the newborn. Whereas if it is occurring in a term baby, that means at 40 weeks, mostly it is going to be the respiratory distress syndrome which we have discussed. And in the post-term baby, there is something which is called as meconium aspiration syndrome. And whenever we will discuss the post-term infants, I will discuss the meconium aspiration also in the 11th video, right? But this video is totally based on transient tachypnea of the newborn. That is the 8th video and which is seen in the preterm baby. So what happens, please understand, in the premature baby, in the preterm baby, so there is a difference. This is actually a preterm baby specific. Preterm baby means less than 40 weeks. Less than 40 weeks. Now, my dear students, please understand that what happens in transient tachypnea of newborn, there is a lot of protein leak. There is a lot of protein leak which is going to happen. Okay. Why there is a lot of protein leak? Because there is lack of resorption of the alveolar fluid. For example, this is my alveoli. There is an alveoli fluid which is going to come. Can you see there is a lot of alveolar fluid which is going to come? Slowly and gradually, this alveolar fluid is going to get reabsorbed. Slowly and gradually, this alveolar fluid is going to get reabsorbed, right? But for example, if there is a failure of reabsorption because of any reason, if there is lack of reabsorption, especially in preterm baby, less than 40 weeker baby, the mechanism of resorption is not well developed. That's why there is a fluid fill in the air spaces that is going to move into the interstitium. Okay, so the fluid is not going to get reabsorbed, but it is going to get pulled outside and it is going to go into the interstitium. And once it is going into the interstitium, it is going to do what? It is pulled in the tissues in the interlobar fissure. Interlobar fissure means, for example, this is the lung. Alright, so this is one fissure, second fissure. So it is going to get accumulated in that interlobar fissure. Alright, from there, of course, it is eventually cleared by the lymphatics. Okay, but yeah, the time till it is in the interlobar fissure, it is going to reduce the pulmonary compliance. Alright, which leads to tachypnea, fast breathing, and increased work of breathing. Alright, the newborn will apply some extra effort to breathe. Why? Because there's a lot of fluid outside that the lungs are not able to expand properly. Now, why it is going to happen? Of course, the Cesarean section, I've told in the previous videos also, like the Cesarean section, what is going to happen? There is no labor. Okay, so Cesarean, you are taking it for labor, there is no labor. So generally, when there is normal vaginal delivery, there is normal labor which is going to happen. The labor is a stressful condition and the hormone in stress is the cortisol. The cortisol is going to release, which is going to stimulate the surfactant production. Alright, so if there is no labor, there is less surfactant production, and of course, if there is less surfactant production, alveoli will try to collapse, and because the alveoli is trying to collapse, the fluid is going to go to outside. Fluid is going to go to outside in the interstitial space. Again, infant born to diabetic mother. So understand, if she is a female is having diabetes, female is going to release glucose. Glucose is going to go to infant. Infant is going to produce a lot of insulin, which is actually going to inhibit the surfactant. And because there is no surfactant, of course, there is a transient tachypnea of the newborn. And of course, if the mother is having asthma, the child is also going to show the TTPN, that is transient tachypnea of newborn. as the name suggests, tachypnea, that means fast breathing, respiratory rate more than 60. There is nasal flaring, expiratory grunting, subcostal and intercostal contractions. Alright. So, what it's going to show, remember, I've told you that the lungs are going to be voluminous, increased volume of the lungs. Okay, increased volume. Can you see the volume of lung is too much here? Can you see? This is the increased volume of the lung which is going to be there. Okay. Then the flat diaphragm. Why the diaphragm is flat? Because it is the voluminous lungs are going to exert the pressure. So this is the diaphragm which you can see. Okay, it's nearly flat. Then there will be fluid in the interlobar fissure. Exactly. And what is going to happen? The amount of fluid is increased. So that increase in amount of fluid is going to enter into the lymphatics. And lymphatics, of course, they are going to give the fluid in the blood. So the vascular markings are going to be very, very prominent. So there will be prominent vascular markings which will be there. And you see here, these are the prominent, prominent vascular markings. The white markings are very prominent over here, right? So this leads to the radiological confirmation. How will you treat this? Of course, because the baby, sometimes the baby takes 2-3 days and there is resorption of the fluid and the condition comes to normal if the lymphatics is functioning properly. So it is a self-limited condition that can last up to 72 hours, right? So what you have to give oxygen because the baby is not able to put in good efforts, right? So supplemental oxygen is good. Then because it's a preterm baby, so we give a nasal hood. Nasal hood means this is the baby lying. You will put a hood on the face of the baby, alright, covering from all the sides. So nasal hood, right, supplemental oxygen, and you will give what? Nutrition. Okay, respiratory rate, if it is more than 80, we have to start with the tube feeding, alright, but that's necessary. Okay, so this is about the transient tachypnea of the newborn. Newborn might be tachypnic, but I know that you are taking good breathing because everything I am making it easy for you and I hope you are liking it. So comment section is always open for your love, support, blessings and feedback. Thank you so much for joining.